The fight on whether a bump stock should or should not be considered a machine gun is being argued by the Gun Owners of America in front of the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, and that was 2 days ago. And I'll give you a brief rundown of the court case and what was argued on both sides here on the next episode of Guns and Gadgets. Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your source for Second Amendment news. Excuse the camera if it moves around a little bit. I'm using my cell phone here. The Gun Owners of America were in front of the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, and they were arguing to get rid of the bump stock ban. Now this happened Wednesday, and you should probably remember that the ATF changed their ruling again administratively, and overnight, people who had a piece of plastic became felons in possession of machine guns without the proper documentation or permits. And the day for everybody to get rid of the bump stocks was March 26, 2019, and here we are in December, and it's still being fought. Now, the statutory definition of machine gun is includes the phrase, it shoots automatically more than one shot without manual reloading by a single function of the trigger. Automatically. Now, the ATF's interpretation, I'm going to read it because I don't remember the wording. The ATF's interpretation of the word automatically includes the action of a shooter putting forward pressure on the bump stock to increase the rate of fire. Now, the GOA had argued previously that this is crazy and ludicrous because you can do the same thing with rubber bands, a belt loop, a piece of string. There was all kinds of ways that people could bump fire a gun. Now, before I get into what happened on Wednesday at the arguments in the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, I want everybody to remember that the Gun Owners of America is always fighting for our rights in the Second Amendment. They're no nonsense. They're no compromise. And if you would like to, you can join the Gun Owners of America. Link is in the description of every one of my videos. And you can join as a viewer of Guns and Gadgets, and you get a 25% discount on a one-year membership, which I would tell you to just throw that $5 back in and donate it because they need all the money they can to fight for us in the courts. It's very expensive, and you know how attorneys are very expensive, especially if they're good. So join the GOA if you haven't already. I don't know why you haven't. If you're a gun owner, they're out there for us on the forefront. Link is in the description. Now let's talk about what happened Wednesday. The attorney who is arguing on behalf of the Gun Owners of America, his name is Rob Olson. Now, of course, Attorney Olson told the Sixth Circuit that bump stock does not convert a semi-automatic weapon into a machine gun, and he laid out a pretty cool hypothetical scenario. He said if you took an AR-15 with a bump stock attached to it and a machine gun, and you put them on a table and you zip-tied the triggers to the rear, the M16, the fully automatic machine gun, would keep cycling, would keep firing, whereas the AR-15 would fire one single shot. Now, he did say that a bump stock does create a human compression spring, but the bump stock itself is simply along for the ride. It's the human and the action that they're taking and pulling the trigger every single time that causes the cyclic rate to increase. Now, GOA in this case said they're seeking an injunction nationwide to prevent enforcement of this ban until the case can be heard to the end. Now, the attorney for the feds, his name is Brad Hinshelwood for the Department of Justice, and he's claiming that bump stocks fall under the definition of a machine gun because the devices set up a continuous cycle of fire once the shooter pulls the trigger. And not necessarily. If you do not know how to use a bump stock, if you ever used one, you can't just put it in your hand and shoot it and have it work. It takes practice, it's technique, because it doesn't do it by itself. It's the actual person. Now, the judge that is hearing this is U.S. Circuit Judge Eric Murphy, who is an appointee from Donald Trump. So we'll see how that goes. But what he did do is press the DOJ's attorney about the constantly shifting position on the statutory language found within the NFA. He also asked the U.S. attorney if the ATF had made numerous mistakes over the past 10 years when they've re-looked at that statute and didn't make a change until recently. And then he asked why every AR-15 wouldn't be illegal if they were all able to be machine guns. At which time the U.S. the DOJ's attorney said the bump stock is the machine gun in terms of the statute. Now that's where it stands right now. There is no timetable regarding the court's decision. Could come whenever. But just know that the GOA is still pushing that fight forward. Join them. Okay? Every little bit helps. especially for those who are actually doing the work for us. To my friends in the GOA, you know who you are. Thank you for everything you are doing for our Second Amendment. We can't do it without you, and I say thank you every time I see you guys and gals, but thank you so much. If you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing. This is where you're going to find all the Second Amendment news, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, no matter where it happens in the country, right here on Guns and Gadgets. When you hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that bell icon so that you get all of the updates as soon as I release a video. Until we see each other again, I am Jared from Guns and Gadgets. My arm is shaking. I hope it's not translating on the camera. Be safe, stay vigilant, and carry a weapon. Have a great day, everybody.